Drummers usually sit in the back, but these legends made sure you'd never forget who was driving the sound. From sticks flying to solos that stop time, these aren't just good, they're the ones other drummers worship. And number 4, his timing was so perfect people thought he had a metronome in his blood. 1. John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. If you ask 100 rock drummers who inspired them, at least half will name John Bonham without even thinking. Known as Bonzo, he wasn't just the drummer for Led Zeppelin, he was a force of nature behind the kit. His playing wasn't just fast or loud, it had weight. Every kick, every snare hit felt like it was driving the entire band forward. What made Bonham so legendary wasn't just his power, it was his feel. He could groove like a funk drummer and then tear through a solo like a hurricane. Songs like When the Levee Breaks and Kashmir aren't just iconic, they're built around his drumming. And don't even get started on Moby Dick, where he basically turned a drum solo into an event that left audiences stunned. He rarely used complex setups or flashy tricks, just sheer skill, groove, and instinct. And the craziest part? He never learned to read music. Everything he did was by ear and by heart. Bonham passed away in 1980 at just 32, but decades later, drummers still chase his tone, his swing, his feel. Because once you hear it, you can't unhear it. The guy was the beat. 2. Neil Peart, Rush. If John Bonham was all about raw power, Neil Peart was precision incarnate. The man was a machine, but one with soul. As the drummer and primary lyricist for Rush, Peart didn't just hold the rhythm, he built entire worlds behind the kit. His drum setup? A fortress. We're talking 360 degrees of toms, cymbals, bells, chimes, electronic pads. He even added rotating kits, but it was never just for show. He used everything. Every crash, every fill, every syncopated roll had purpose. Whether it was the prog rock epic Tom Sawyer or the shifting time signatures of La Villa Strangiato, Peart made complexity feel natural. But beyond the technical brilliance, it was his commitment to growth that made him next level. Even deep into his career, he went back to study jazz technique just to evolve further. That's not ego, that's mastery. When he passed in 2020, it didn't just hit Rush fans, it shook the entire music world. Because drummers weren't just influenced by Peart, they were educated by him. He wasn't just a drummer, he was a composer with sticks. 3. Keith Moon, The Who. Keith Moon wasn't just drumming, he was detonating behind the kit. The Who's music was wild, unpredictable, and loud, and Moon matched that energy beat for beat. He didn't keep time like most drummers, he attacked it. Fills came out of nowhere. Cymbals crashed like waves in a storm. Somehow it all worked. What made Moon so unforgettable wasn't polish, it was chaos. Listen to My Generation or Baba O'Reilly, and you'll hear a drummer constantly pushing the edge, teetering between brilliance and breakdown. But that was the magic. He made rock drums feel dangerous. Offstage, he was just as explosive, trashing hotel rooms, setting off fireworks. But on stage, it was pure performance art. He made the drums a lead instrument, not just a backbeat. Moon died tragically young at 32, but his legacy is still crashing through speakers to this day. Because when he played, it wasn't clean, it was alive. 4. Dave Grohl, Nirvana, Foo Fighters. Before he was fronting the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl was the drummer who gave Nirvana its punch. His style was pure, unfiltered power, tight, aggressive, and loud in all the right places. Tracks like Smells Like Teen Spirit hit harder because of him. He wasn't flashy, he was relentless. What What set Grohl apart was how he balanced force with clarity. Every hit had purpose. His fills were fast but never messy. His groove, unshakable. And when Nirvana exploded into the mainstream, Grohl's drumming became the heartbeat of a movement. Even after stepping into the spotlight with Foo Fighters, he never lost that percussive edge. When he drums on Queens of the Stone Age's Songs for the Deaf, you feel it. It's unmistakably Grohl. He proved that drummers can lead a band, shape its sound, and then go on to build one from scratch. He's not just a great rock drummer, he's a rock architect. 5, Chad Smith, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Sometimes I feel like my only friend.
Chad Smith doesn't just play drums, he rides the pocket like it owes him money. As the backbone of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, his groove is the glue holding together funk, punk, and rock chaos. From the punchy shuffle of Give It Away to the laid-back drive of Californication, Smith brings a deep, instinctual feel that never overpowers but always pushes forward.
There's nobody out there.
He makes the complicated sound easy, and the easy sound cool. He's got that rare mix of precision and swagger. His snare hits are crisp, his timing's ridiculous, and he locks in with Flea like they're one brain, two bodies. And let's be real, he's one of the few drummers who can match that much funk with that much force. No gimmicks, no overplaying, just tight, tasty rhythm that keeps everything moving. He's proof that groove isn't just a style, it's a discipline. And Chad, he's a master of it. 6, Ginger Baker, Cream. Ginger Baker was a wild card. He didn't just play rock, he redefined it by dragging jazz into the picture and turning the whole thing upside down. As the drummer for Cream, he wasn't content with just holding the beat. He was in constant motion. Flurries of toms, rolling fills, polyrhythms that felt like a storm barely held together. On tracks like Toad, Baker didn't just solo, he took over. The guy made drum solos a main attraction. And while Clapton and Jack Bruce were shredding, Ginger was anchoring the madness with near orchestral complexity. He was notoriously difficult, explosive on and off stage, but his technique was undeniable. He brought jazz sensibility to rock power, and no one had really heard anything like it before. Ginger Baker didn't play it safe. He played like the drums were trying to escape him, and somehow he always caught them. 7, Danny Carey, Tool. Danny Carey isn't your average rock drummer. He's a time-bending architect behind the kit. With Tool, he's turned drumming into something cerebral and hypnotic. Complex time signatures, polyrhythms, and strange grooves are his playground. But here's what's wild. It still feels good. He pulls from jazz, fusion, and world rhythms, even using tabla techniques and sacred geometry in his setup. Literally, his custom kit has cymbals baked in, which he says help shape the flow of patterns. It's not just drumming, it's design. Songs like Schism or Lateralis sound impossible to replicate, but Carey plays them with precision and a weird, organic fluidity. He's not about showing off, he's about building sonic puzzles that somehow groove. What makes him legendary is that rare balance of brains and instinct. His playing isn't just tight, it's layered, intentional, and endlessly creative. Carey doesn't just support the song, he is the structure it's built on. 8, Lars Ulrich, Metallica. You can't talk about metal drumming without mentioning Lars Ulrich. He's not the flashiest, and he's not the most technical, but what he is foundational. Without Lars, there's no Metallica. And without Metallica, there's no blueprint for modern thrash. From the breakneck double-kick assault in Dyer's Eve to the crisp, relentless pulse of Enter Sandman, Lars helped define what heavy metal drums sound like. His playing is tight, aggressive, and strategic. Every cymbal choke, every snare crack is placed like a punch. He's also one of the first drummers in metal to think like a songwriter. His arrangements build tension, create space, and drive the riffs, not just decorate them. That kind of instinct helped make Metallica one of the biggest bands on the planet. Say what you will about his style, but the impact is undeniable. Lars didn't just sit behind the kit, he co-led a revolution from it. I'm Stewart Copeland, The Police.
I know my mind is made up, so put away your makeup.
Stewart Copeland didn't just keep time, he reshaped it. With The Police, he blended reggae, punk, and rock into something totally his own. His drumming on tracks like Roxanne and Message in a Bottle wasn't flashy, it was sharp, syncopated, and always in control. Tight hi-hats, snappy snares, rhythms that danced just off the beat. Copeland made drums feel clever, playful, and completely essential. He didn't just serve the song, he gave it its edge. 10. Phil Rudd, AC/DC. Phil Rudd didn't play to impress. He played to hold it all together. As AC/DC's rock-solid backbone, his drumming was simple, straight, and unshakably tight. Tracks like Back in Black and Highway to Hell hit harder because of that steady pulse. No flashy fills, no overplaying. Just a groove so locked in it carried the whole band. Rudd proved you don't need to be loud to be legendary, just consistent, just powerful, just right. 11. Dave Lombardo, Slayer. If metal drumming had a speed limit, Dave Lombardo blew right past it. As the drummer for Slayer, he helped define the sound of thrash with rapid-fire double kicks, razor-sharp snare work, and an intensity that felt downright feral. But here's what made Lombardo special. He wasn't just fast, he was tight. Songs like Angel of Death and Raining Blood hit like a controlled explosion. Every fill, every blast beat was locked into the riff with surgical precision. He made chaos feel clean. Lombardo came up in a time when drumming in metal was about pushing limits, and he pushed all of them: tempo, stamina, technique. And he brought in Latin and jazz influences too, which added depth most people didn't even notice at first. Even now, decades later, younger drummers still point to him as the blueprint for modern extreme drumming, because while Slayer was turning heads with riffs and rage, Lombardo was in the back running the engine, loud, fast, and flawlessly. 12. Ringo Starr, The Beatles. Say what you will, but Ringo Starr changed drumming forever without ever needing to show off. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't technical in the usual sense, but he had feel. And sometimes feel is everything. Listen to Come Together, A Day in the Life, or Ticket to Ride. Ringo's playing doesn't just support the song, it shapes the vibe. His fills are simple but weirdly perfect, his timing unshakable, and his choices always serve the song instead of his ego. What's wild is that at the height of Beatlemania, Ringo wasn't trying to impress anyone. He played left-handed on a right-handed kit, which gave him that unique swing in his fills. It wasn't textbook, but it worked. Modern drummers from Phil Collins to Dave Grohl have praised him for exactly that, because Ringo proved you don't need to dominate the spotlight to be iconic, you just have to play exactly what the song needs every single time. 13. Matt Cameron, Soundgarden, Solid Pearl Jam. Matt Cameron is one of those drummers who never needed the spotlight because his playing commanded it anyway. With Soundgarden, he fused grunge grit with prog rock complexity. Odd time signatures, no problem. Huge, heavy grooves, he made it feel easy. Take a listen to Rusty Cage or Spoon Man. His drumming doesn't just drive the song, it shapes its DNA. He'll go from stomping half-time to wild syncopation, all while making it feel totally natural. No overplaying, no filler, just taste, power, and control. When Soundgarden disbanded, Pearl Jam didn't just pick him, they needed him. He brought structure to chaos and elevated everything around him. Cameron's the kind of drummer musicians worship quietly because he's always in service of the music, and that's the mark of a true legend, someone whose parts you feel even if you don't always notice them right away. And there you have it. 13 drummers who didn't just keep time, they changed it. If one of your favorites made the list, or if we missed someone you swear by, hit the comments. And if you're into this kind of deep-cut music content, go ahead and subscribe. We've got more legends, breakdowns, and stories coming your way.